welcome to our Bible meditation. This reading is for January 22nd, 2024, and we're reading Exodus 35, 36, 37, and 38.
And we're reading from the New King James Version. Exodus 35, Sabbath regulations. Then Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together, and he said to them, "These are the words which the Lord has commanded you to do. Work shall be done for 6 days, but the seventh day shall be a holy day for you, a Sabbath of rest to the Lord. Whoever does any work on it shall be put to death. You shall kindle no fire throughout your dwellings on the Sabbath day." Offerings for the tabernacle. And Moses spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, "This is the thing which the Lord commanded. Take from among you an offering to the Lord. Whoever is of a willing heart, let him bring it as an offering to the Lord. Gold, silver, and bronze, purple, blue, and scarlet thread, fine linen, goat's hair, ram skins dyed red, badger skins, and acacia wood, oil for the night, and spices for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense, onyx stones, and stones to be set in the ephod and in the breastplate. Articles of the tabernacle. All who are gifted artisans among you shall come and make all that the Lord has commanded. The tabernacle, its tent, its covering, its clasps, its boards, its bars, its pillars, and its sockets, the ark and its poles, with the mercy seat and the veil of the covering, the table and its poles and all of its utensils, and the showbread. Also the lampstand for the light, its utensils, its lamps, and the oil for the light, the incense altar, its poles, the anointing oil, the sweet incense, the screen for the door at the entrance of the tabernacle, the altar of the burnt offering with its bronze grating, its poles, all of its utensils, and the laver and its base, the hanging of the court, its pillars, its sockets, screens for the gate of the court, the pegs, the tabernacle, the pegs of the court and their cords, the garments of the ministry for ministering in the holy place, the holy garments for Aaron the priest, the garments for his sons to minister as priests, the tabernacle offerings presented. And of all the congregation, the children of Israel departed from the presence of Moses. Then everyone who came whose heart was stirred and everyone whose spirit was willing, and they brought the Lord's offering for the work of the tabernacle of meeting, for all his service, for all his holy garments. They came, both men and women, and as many had a willing heart, and brought earrings, nose rings, and all the necklaces, all the jewelry of gold, that is, every man who made an offering of gold to the Lord. And every man with whom was found blue, purple, scarlet thread, fine linen, and goat's hair, red skins of ram, badger skins, brought them. Everyone who offered an offering of silver or bronze brought the Lord's offering. And everyone with whom was found an acacia wood for any work of service brought it. All the women who were gifted artisans spun yarn with their hands and brought what they had spun of purple, of blue, of scarlet, and fine linen. And all the women whose hearts were stirred with wisdom spun yarn of goat's hair. The rulers brought onyx stones and the stones to be set in the ephod and in the breastplate, and spices and oils for the light, for the anointing oil, for the sweet incense. The children of Israel brought a free will offering to the Lord. All the men and women whose hearts were willing to bring material for all kinds of work which the Lord by the hand of Moses commanded to be done. The artisans called by the Lord. And Moses said to the children of Israel, See, the Lord has called by name Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Ur, the tribe of Judah. He has filled him with the Spirit of God, in wisdom and understanding, in knowledge and all manner of workmanship, to design artistic works, to work in gold and silver and bronze, in cutting jewels for settings, in carving wood, and to work in all manner of the artistic workmanship. And he has put in his heart the ability to teach him, in Aholiab, the son of Ashimah, the tribe of Dan. He has filled them with skill to do all the work of the engraver, the designer, and the tapestry maker, in blue, purple, scarlet thread, and fine linen, and of the weaver, those who do every work, and those who design artistic works.
Exodus 36. And Bezalel and Aholiab and every gifted artisan of whom the Lord has put wisdom and understanding to know how to do all manner of work for the service of the sanctuary shall do according to all that the Lord has commanded. The people give more than enough. Then Moses called Bezalel and Aholiab and every gifted artisan in whose heart the Lord had put wisdom, everyone whose heart was stirred, to come and to do work. And they received from Moses all the offering which the children of Israel had brought for the work of the service of making the sanctuary. So they continued bringing to him free will offerings every morning. Then all the craftsmen who were doing all the work of the sanctuary came, each from the work of he was doing. And they spoke to Moses, saying, The people bring much more than enough for the service of the work which the Lord commanded us to do. So Moses gave a commandment, and they caused it to be proclaimed throughout the camp, saying, Let neither man or woman do any more work for the offering of the sanctuary. And the people were restrained from bringing, for the material they had was sufficient for all the work to be done, indeed too much. Building the tabernacle. Then all the gifted artisans among them who worked on the tabernacle made 10 curtains woven of fine linen and of blue, purple, scarlet thread. With artistic designs of cherubim they made them. The length of each curtain was 28 cubits, and the width of each curtain 4 cubits. The curtains were all the same size. And he coupled 5 curtains to one together, and the other 5 curtains he coupled to one another. He made loops of blue yarn on the edge of the curtain, on the selvage of one set. Likewise, he did on the outer edge of the other curtain of the second set. 50 loops he made on one curtain, and 50 loops he made on the edge of the curtain on the end of the second set. The loops held one curtain to another. And he made 50 clasps of gold, and coupled the curtains to one another with the clasps, that it might be one tabernacle. He made curtains of goat's hair for the tent over the tabernacle. He made 11 curtains. The length of each curtain was 30 cubits, and the width of each curtain 4 cubits. The 11 curtains were the same size. He coupled 5 curtains by themselves, and 6 curtains by themselves. And he made 50 loops on the edge of the curtain that is outermost in one set, and 50 loops he made on the edge of the curtain of the second set. He also made 50 bronze clasps to couple the tent together, that it might be one. Then he made a covering for the tent of ram skins dyed red, and a covering of badger skins above that. For the tabernacle he made boards of acacia wood, standing upright. The length of each board was 10 cubits, and the width of each board 1.5 cubits. Each board had 2 tenons for binding one together. Thus he made for all the boards of the tabernacle. And he made boards for the tabernacle, 20 boards for the south side. 40 sockets of silver he made to go under the 20 boards, 2 sockets under each for the boards for its 2 tenons. And for the other side of the tabernacle, the north side, he made 20 boards, and their 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under each of the boards. For the west side of the tabernacle, he made 6 boards. He also made 2 boards for the 2 back corners of the tabernacle, and they were coupled at the bottom and coupled together at the top by 1 ring. Thus he made both of them for the 2 corners. So there were 8 boards and their sockets, 16 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under each of the boards. And he made bars of acacia wood, 5 for the boards on one side of the tabernacle, 5 bars for the boards on the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the tabernacle on the far side westward. And he made the middle bar to pass through the boards from one end to the other. He overlaid the boards with gold, made their rings of gold to be holders for the bars, and overlaid the bars with gold. And he made a veil of blue, purple, and scarlet thread, and fine woven linen. It was worked with an artistic design of cherubim. He made for it 4 pillars of acacia wood, and overlaid them with gold, with their hooks of gold, and he cast 4 sockets of silver for them. He also made a screen for the tabernacle door of blue, purple, and scarlet thread, and fine woven linen, made by a weaver, and its 5 pillars with their hooks, and he overlaid their capitals and their rings with gold, but their 5 sockets were bronze.
Exodus 37. Making the Ark of the Testimony. Then Bezalel made the Ark of acacia wood, 2.5 cubits was its length, a cubit and a half its width, a cubit and a half its height. He overlaid it with pure gold inside and out, and made a molding of gold all around. He cast it on 4 rings of gold to be set in its 4 corners, 2 rings on one side and 2 rings on the other side. He made poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold. He put the poles into the rings at the side of the ark to bear the ark. He also made the mercy seat of pure gold, 2.5 cubits was its length, and a cubit and a half its width. He made 2 cherubims of beaten gold. He made them one piece at the 2 ends of the mercy seat, one cherub at one end of the side, and the other cherub at the other end of that side. He made the cherubim at the 2 ends of one piece with the mercy seat. The cherubim spread out their wings above and covered the mercy seat with their wings. They faced one another. The faces of the cherubim were towards the mercy seat, making the table for showbread. He made the table of acacia wood. 2 cubits was its length, a cubit its width, a cubit and a half its height. He overlaid it with pure gold and made a molding of gold all around it. Also he made a frame of handbreadth all around it, and made a molding of gold for the frame around it. And he cast it for 4 rings of gold, with 2 rings on 4 corners that were at his 4 legs. The rings were close to the frame, and the holders of the poles to bear the table. He made the poles of acacia wood to bear the table and overlaid them with gold. He made of pure gold the utensils which were on the table, his dishes, his cups, his bowls, and his pitchers for pouring. Making the gold lampstand. He also made the lampstand of pure gold of hammered work, which he made the lampstand, its shaft, its branches, its bowls, its ornamental knobs, its flowers made of the same piece. And 6 branches came out of the side, 3 branches of the lampstand on one side, and 3 branches of the lampstand on the other side. There were 3 bowls made like almond blossoms on one branch, an ornamental knob and a flower, and 3 bowls made like an almond blossom on the other branch with an ornamental knob and a flower. So for the 6 branches coming out of the lampshade, and on the lampstand itself were 4 bowls made like almond blossoms, each with its ornamental knob and flower. There was a knob under the first two branches of the same, a knob under the second two branches of the same, a knob under the third two branches the same, according to the six branches extending from it. Their knobs and their branches were of one piece, and all was one hammered piece of gold. He made it 7 lamps, its wick trimmers, and its tray of pure gold. Of the talent of pure gold, he made it with all its utensils. Making the altar of incense. He made the incense altar of acacia wood. Its length was a cubit, and its width was a cubit. It was square, and 2 cubits was its height. Its horns were of one piece with it. He overlaid it with pure gold, its top, its sides, all around gold. He made 2 rings of gold for under the molding by its 2 corners of both sides, as the holder of the poles which were to bear it. He made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold. Making the anointing oil and the incense, he also made the holy anointing oil and the pure incense of sweet spices according to the work of the perfumer.
Exodus 38. Making the altar of burnt offering. He made the altar of burnt offering of acacia wood. 5 cubits was its length, and 5 cubits its width. It was square, and its height was 3 cubits. He made its horns on its 4 corners, and the horns were of one piece with it, and he overlaid it with bronze. He made all the utensils for the altar, the pans, the shovels, the basins, the forks, and the fire pans. All the utensils he made of bronze. And he made a grate of bronze network for the altar under its rim midway from the bottom. He cast 4 rings for the 4 corners of the bronze grating as holders for the poles, and he made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with bronze. Then he put the poles into the rings on the sides of the altar with which to bear it. He made the altar hollow with boards, making the bronze laver. He made the laver of bronze and its base of bronze from the bronze mirrors of the serving women who assembled at the door of the tabernacle of meeting, making the court of the tabernacle. Then he made the court on the south side. The hangings of the court were of fine woven linen and 100 cubits long. There were 20 pillars for them, the 20 bronze sockets. The hooks of the pillars and their bands were silver. On the north side of the hangings were 100 cubits long, with 20 pillars and their 20 bronze sockets. The hooks of the pillars and their bands were silver. And on the west side there were hangings of 50 cubits, with 10 pillars and their 10 sockets. The hooks of the pillars and their bands were silver. For the east side the hangings were 50 cubits. The hangings of one side of the gate were 15 cubits long, with their 3 pillars and their 3 sockets, and the same for the other side of the court gate. On this side and that were hangings of 15 cubits, with their 3 pillars and their 3 sockets. All the hangings of the court all around were of fine woven linen. The sockets for the pillars were bronze. The hooks of the pillars and their bands were silver, and the overlay of their capitals was silver, and all the pillars of the court had bands of silver. The screen for the gate of the court was woven of blue, purple, and scarlet thread, and of fine woven linen. The length was 20 cubits, and the height along its width was 5 cubits, corresponding to the hangings of the court. And there were 4 pillars with their 4 sockets of bronze. Their hooks were silver, and the overlay of their capitals and their bands was silver. All the pegs of the tabernacle and the court all around were bronze. Materials of the tabernacle. This is the inventory of the tabernacle of the testimony, which was counted according to the commandment of Moses, for the service of the Levites, by the hand of Ithamar, son of Aaron, the priest. Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, made all that the Lord had commanded Moses. And with him was Oholiab, the son of Ahisamach of the tribe of Dan, an engraver and designer, a weaver of blue, purple, scarlet thread, and of fine linen. All the gold that was used in all the work of the holy place, that is, the gold of the offering, was 29 talents and 730 shekels, according to the shekel of the sanctuary. And the silver from those who were numbered of the congregation was 100 talents and 1,775 shekels, according to the shekel of the sanctuary. A bekah for each man, that is, half a shekel, according to the shekel of the sanctuary, for everyone included in the numbering from 20 years old and above, for 603,550 men. And from the 100 talents of silver were cast the sockets of the sanctuary and the bases of the veil, 100 sockets from the 100 talents, 1 talent for each socket. Then from the 1,775 shekels he made hooks for the pillars, overlaid their capitals, and made bands for them. The offering of bronze was 70 talents and 2,400 shekels, and with it he made the sockets for the door of the tabernacle of meeting, the bronze altar, the bronze grating for it, and all the utensils for the altar, the sockets for the court all around, the bases for their court gate, all the pegs for the tabernacle, and all the pegs for the court all around.
How about that?
Yeah,
So,
there was quite some architecture there, huh?
yeah.
Well,
Well, you can see the specificity that God wanted that everything had to be so.
yes, from the measuring, from the color of the thread, and
Yeah,
gold layering, silver, bronze. Must have been beautiful.
yes, I'm sure it was.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, that concludes the reading for today. Read your scriptures, pray without ceasing, and we shall see you tomorrow. God bless.
God bless you.